everybody, and welcome to another Horror Attic. We're going to be playing Paper Dolls, a game I know very little about. Very interested to see what we got here. A difficulty setting, which for horror games is increasingly becoming rare, because it's more and more about how, like, the difficulty is artificial, where you're not actually in much danger. Enemy desire to attack is weak. Well, I like that. Moving speed's very slow, suitable for beginners. We're probably gonna be playing here on normal because that's a good. I think that's a good bar for evaluating something. I do have moderate horror survival games experience to my chagrin. And finally, we have Nightmare, which is definitely not what I like. I would not describe myself as confident in my operations in nearly any context. Okay, so I'm gonna pick this and we're gonna see what happens. Run when you meet a ghost, do not fight back. Yeah, okay, I'm on the right page. That's great. Okay, and we've got... Now, I don't know when this game is from originally. That would have been a useful piece of data to have gleaned. This looks like a mid-2000s cutscene in some respects, and an FMV in others, which would speak to even earlier than mid-2000s. But it's hard to tell since it's so out of focus. Yeah, I want to save this as video. Daddy?
Mommy's home yet?
Oh, that's...
Sleep some more, Molly. And as soon as you open your eyes, we'll be there.
Okay, I will say that this is about standard for survival horror indie English voice acting, regardless of where the game is from, but... Alright, now the question, obviously, on everyone's minds is, are we looking at another Bad Dad survival horror game? Jury's out. I say survival horror, this one is survival horror, but most Bad Dad horror games are actually experiential horror, like Layers of Fear or Devotion, rather than games where any skills are actually tested, because as we all know, Bad Dads can't do shit. Okay, so I've got a flashlight in front of me, and it looks like one of those elbow kink flashlights, which... I take as reassurance because, and this is wild, and there's no reason this should be the case, but when you get like an elbow kink flashlight, you never have to change the batteries. Have you noticed that? And I don't like changing batteries in horror games because I don't like running out of battery power in horror games. So, it's good. Alright, we appear to be injured. Now, I'm assuming that this is following the car accident. We had some kind of child who then ran off. She seemed to be in good condition.
You are back.
Okay, I can switch it off, and... Yep, but there doesn't appear to be any draining battery meter or anything like that, so no reason to. Ooh. And we have what appears to be a statue here. Which has been decapitated messily. I have a quick turn. Now that's fascinating. Also, I appear to be an inventory screen, and I dismiss it with escape, which is interesting. But there's like nothing here to actually pick up. Maybe we'll figure out how that works once we find a container that actually is loaded with something. There appears to be a doll, which is pierced through with pins. If I hit details, Cursed Doll 8. I was about to say I'm not sure entirely what the cultural significance of that is, if it has any, and it is not just an invention of this game. Oh, and we can hide. So hiding in horror games, while I'm poking around and kind of getting a sense of the layout here, I think I may have caught a glimpse of this game. I don't know if this game turns out to have had a VR release, then I've seen that briefly. But otherwise, as I'm poking around here, let's talk about hiding in horror games. It's not actually a mechanic I'm sure I like very much, but to some extent, because, you know, I've mentioned before that I find horror games fascinating, but I'm very distressed by playing them. And I almost wonder if the reason I don't like hiding in horror games is because it's too effective. I would like to be charitable to myself and say that the main reason I don't enjoy it very much is because it's such a passive thing. You run and you sort of, you just like wait to find out if it worked or not. I tend to like games that have like an active, like even though it absolutely wrecked my nerves. The sequence in Call of Cthulhu: Dark Corners of the Earth in Innsmouth when you're escaping the hotel is, I think, one of the most effective horror sequences, and it's specifically because you can't just sit and wait for something to happen. Okay, this appears to be a guide to keys. Hopefully I can consult this document later. And is it... Yep, it's just looks like the texture's just mirrored. Which is... I'm not sure if that was a deliberate choice or not. Maybe we'll see if there's any reason for that. But, it seems to be corresponding. Like, this kind of lock goes to this design of key, which says that this is another one of them key collector horror games, which is as good a... I mean, there was kind of that horror game renaissance that happened about, starting a decade ago with Amnesia, and then there was Slender with collecting notes, and I tend to think that, while that's... Yeah, see, here's one of the locks here, and I don't seem to have the key that corresponds to it, but maybe it's around here somewhere. Yep. So we've just got all these locks on these doors here. Now, what's this? Cloth strip. I don't like that. And my daughter's waiting for me, so I'm going to do what is almost certainly... I'm going to guess that I'm not actually intended to hide until I see an enemy. Usually games like this are pretty good at signposting it. Anyway, back to what I was saying. I think Slender was one of the games that really showed that having an enemy chase you around while you're gathering objects which are scattered around, even procedurally scattered around an environment, is very intimidating. Oh, my flashlight just flickered there, which I did not enjoy. Here we go. Yeah, I just need to... If this game did indeed have a VR port, then that would not be a pleasant moment to experience. So there's a tool there. It is filled with bugs. So my character is evidently unable to grab that tool because he's very, very scared of roaches, which I will say will not impress me very much if there turns out to be things scarier than roaches in the environment here. And this is a pile of paper ingots. Now, I would be grossly out of my depth to speculate about what the significance of those is. I do know that, I basically don't want to apply, like, a few of the selective things I am aware about as far with regards to Chinese culture, which I haven't even entirely confirmed this is a Chinese game, in attempting to speculate what that means. So we'll just be in the dark a bit. Yeah, I will say, obviously, I have less incisive commentary to give on games which were developed significantly outside of my cultural framework, but I do think it's very interesting to play them. People talk about how much of horror is culturally subjective, and I will say that the horror games which seem to find niche success often do tend to be the ones which translate broadly, and I don't know whether we could say that's because... These are origami gold nugget. In Chinese culture, people do offer them to that. Okay, that is as I suspected. In order to keep them from needing money in the underworld, this origami can be burned to bring wealth to the dead. Puzzle. Down. Okay, so... The fact that this is classified as puzzle makes me suspect that what I need to do is bring the golden ingots I have to the empty tray there for the dead here. So... Give. And no immediate effect, but I kind of suspect I won't do anything until I turn my back and get myself in position to get mega spooked. Ooh, that breath. I want to say that you should not have your character, make heavy breathing noises in a horror game. And that, it's a cheap trick, but it is quite effective sometimes. I dislike it. But again... Oh, I suspect I need to burn them. Need more ingot? But I don't have more ingot. I suppose I'll keep combing the environment. Boy, I've abandoned a few tangents here. Oh yeah, I will say that on some level the games that achieve mainstream success tend to have some pretty universal themes, but also you have stuff like this game in Devotion, which... and a few games which are based on Scandinavian lore, which... just sort of place, refresher courses throughout the game. And it's a shame that, to some extent I need this to get anything out of the game beyond what's basically available, but... Oh, I suppose I should put around my... Oh, the vinyl is warped. Well, is there a way I could unwarp it? Now, it's interesting... Oh, here are more ingots. It's interesting because I had suspected that I would... be roaming around a bit more, and that, like, I would sort of be getting into a bit of a stickier situation immediately. But this game seems to be grounding me very much in almost escape room style puzzles in this limited environment. And maybe that's because I was just a bit slow to find these ingots, but I tend to suspect that I'll be in this zone for some time. Alright, now I seem to be done with that container. And let's see if anything's changed. Ah, of course, I found this candle here. So I light that with one of my 2 matches, and I would suspect there'd be another candle. I just bumped into the furniture and it startled me. Alright, let's see what else we got here. Because clearly I wasn't careful enough in combing the area. I will say I like the lighting here a lot. Let me turn off my flashlight to admire it a bit more. This is very, very strong presentation of lighting. Like, you've got the deep shadows. How light and darkness works in horror games is always dicey, and of course it's even dicier by the time YouTube compression has had its say. And there's always a balance between providing like a deep shadow so that where players can't actually find their way around, versus providing like a shallow shadow which isn't actually effective. But I really like the way, looking around here, you can clearly see the distinctions and kind of the murky outlines of waypoints to guide you. And then you've got the central strong light sources here, which this is just gorgeous. Absolutely, this is a box art screenshot right here. So let's poke around a bit, and now I've lit the one candle, and I've placed an offering for the dead. So let's see if there's any other interactables I've missed. Really, really taking its time in this game. Insects still on that. Yeah, I don't really know what logic to expect for the puzzles yet. So far, it's... that's kind of a tremble. Yep. Keep away from high temperatures. Yep, so got this record seems to have been warped by high temperatures. That tells me that, we need to find something to do with the record. One thing we can do here, I do still seem to be able to interact with this, so let's see if I can heat the... Okay, this is puzzle logic. Yeah, but I seem to have been able to use the high temperatures of the candle to melt the record back into shape. I strongly suspect that this is not something you actually want to do if you're attempting to restore vintage music. Oh, and of course, nothing creepier than old-timey music, but it's interesting. I don't seem to be able to just start playing it. See if there's anything else I need to put on it, or... Yep, can't use it. I don't see why I would. Can't use it. Can use it. Alright, so the established game logic is the fact that it's still selectable means that there's something else, another object that I need to use with this. So let's have a little poke around and see what we turn up. Maybe I should be following some environmental cues here. So there's a gout of blood which follows from this here. And it goes for some way... Oh! Now, this is selectable again. It wasn't before. Maybe now that the candle has been lit, I can, provide this as an offering. Okay, now I have no control here, of course. And it appears to have dropped one of the potion seller's strongest potions. Nope, it is in fact not that. Is it an insecticide? At a glance, this seems like... Now... I want to say it was pretty modern, the flashback we saw. This bottle of insecticide does not look especially modern. Although, of course, insecticide bottles are the things that tend to be neglected in the back of a cabinet and grow very dusty and old-looking. But this from the design, I would hazard a guess that this is meant to be read as like an earlier 20th century product. Oh, we have the insecticide, of course. Naturally, the insects. And now, of course, having worked at Home Depot, I can tell you that's exactly how insecticide works. You splash it around, it creates a dense fart cloud, and then the bugs scatter for the hills. Perfectly healthy. So we have a handle, of course, time to stir up the good times, bad times band here, and get spooked. I want to say this is it. I want to say this is the thing I do that draws the ghoulie forth, but I guess we'll find out. Oh, I don't like that there's a mechanic for this. Oh, and the handle of cheap construction appears to have snapped on me. Can I use the cloth strip? I can. Boy, I would... Okay, we'll just roll with it. But this seems like puzzle logic through and through to me. I would not trust this to keep a handle steady, and I would rather suspect that it would be better just to grab it by the... Oh. First puzzle! Boy, I am so smart. Whoa, did you hear that noise as the record came off? It's kind of like, I'm not sure if that was intended to be the vocals trailing off, but it definitely did have the impression of kind of like a cut-off scream. And, let's see, now I'm trying to remember what button I pressed. Ah, yes, notebook. Let's take a look, lock and key. Alright, so... it would probably be better if I remembered what my key looked like, but I think it was the one at the bottom there, which would mean it goes to the unmarked lock. Let's see. Let's go back and check again. Nope, it is in fact the first key, I think. So that means that it goes to the one that has the swirlies on it. And I'm sure that I'll be able to apply this. I could, of course, just, wander around and stick the key in every lock willy-nilly. Could also be color-coded here. Yep! And with a stock shotgun sound effect, I have slid the lock free, and I'm ready to go forth into eternity. Now, let's talk about how I was talking about experiential horror earlier and versus survival horror, and which I like better. Because, on some level, I definitely accept the complaints that games like Layers of Fear, being light on mechanics as they are. Oh, I've already found another key. I don't really like that. I would rather be going at a less rockling along pace here. I definitely accept the criticism that, they're short on gameplay, they're a little too linear, and that, there tends to be moments where you become less frightened because you don't have active engagement. Like I said, passive engagement versus active engagement. But at the same time, I do think there's something to be said for giving you a little bit of space and I like that they let you examine an area without necessarily worrying that you're about to be ambushed. The Lord asked you to check the inventory and the treasury. Okay. So we've got some ignite the candle, then light incense up. Okay, so there's an order of operations here. And yes, I use the incense on the candle. That's yeah, okay. Blessed by the divinity, this place is absolutely safe. Well, I was just talking about the need for safe areas to poke around in a bit and sort of gather information. Now, let's see. I don't think I can go through either of these doors. Yeah, seems to be the case. So this is my safe zone. And I'm a big fan of having that. So, now it's interesting that there's a safe zone and there's cabinets and things you can hide in and under. My inclination would be, if I can, to just run to here and get blessed, rather than, wait for the canned animation where, you're not actually safe. I will say that's one reason I don't like hiding mechanics, is that clock tower shit where there's actually a dice roll, right, whether the hiding spot is safe or not. To me, it just feels like less sporting and more cruel. I don't play horror games to be cruelly scared. I play horror games to be appropriately scared, and I acknowledge that maybe makes me a not ideal consumer of them, but I try to be objective in judging them. Alright, so this is an ID card for a maid, and I have another ID card. Let's see who that's interesting. So that appears to be classified as a document rather than a tool. It's been a long time since the madam has failed to conceive. How'd she get pregnant? As soon as the pater came along, didn't the Lord think anything of it? Oof. Classic. And again, it's somewhat crazy. They are all crazy. Something definitely happened upstairs. So that's Mr. Lou. Ah! 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 and I seem to have failed that QuickTime event. I'm not entirely sure how. I did think that I did that as requested. I may have been a bit... now, my microphone is a little improperly placed, so it may have been that I didn't see the A prompt until it was too late. Oh, there appears to be an open bird cage back there. That's interesting. Can I spot anything through here? No? Okay. Well, let's go back and do that again and see what happens. I will say that, so I didn't have any control for a bit there. When really, like, actually for that entire sequence, the only control I had was the QuickTime event. And I wonder if after I succeed, should I happen to succeed, if I will then have to run for it. Oh. Yep, so I'm... Okay. Oh, yes, I see. So, yes, there's a QuickTime event here I'm using to dodge. Oh, W and D. Damn. I hit A and D instinctively, but, yeah, that's really my fault. My attention's too thinly spread, I suppose. I did notice that it looked like he had an open mouth, which was... By open mouth, I, of course, mean no mouth of any kind. You do not deserve to be a master's family, so I should probably go back and review the documents, maybe off camera here, because it looks like, especially if I want to continue, because it looks like what we're looking at here is, oh, damn it, I didn't manage to get the Band-Aids. So the second time that happened, oh, yeah, failing one QuickTime event kills you here. Probably shouldn't try to comment throughout it, but it does seem interesting to me that the spirit attacked me the first time when I got the the first time when I picked up the note, and the second time when I picked up the bandage, which it seems like one of those should be scripted to trigger the event, right? So that you can make sure that you get probably like the note. Maybe it's just a timer. I don't think it is. In fact, I really don't think it is, but I'm going to go test it out because I'm interested in seeing how they decided to have this event happen. In fact, I'm going to go over there, I'm going to stand there, and if that doesn't happen, I'm going to come over here, I'm going to look around there first, and we'll see what's what. Okay? 5, 4, 3... Okay. Yeah, so it only attacks me when I grab an arbitrary item from the desk. More cursed dollies. Let's look around here. So the diary, I believe it was Mr. Liu's diary, which had the speculation about the mistress becoming pregnant. Chen boiled medicine in the tea house and carried it to the madam before noon. Now, the way these are torn makes me suspect... I don't have a match, damn. Makes me suspect that they assemble to form one cohesive document. I hear a dripping noise, which, ooh, just like that little sound is nice. I like it. I like that kind of... Doesn't quite let you get settled, but it's not hammering you either. I will say that this game doesn't have very oppressive sound design, and that's something... Fuck that! That's something you get a lot of in this kind of horror game. This game is mostly silence. And that's an interesting choice. I think it probably does make the game slightly less frightening. But I suppose when there actually is sound, that will just make it all the more. Alright, I'm going to grab the bandage, because I only have one of these things. It should be the one that's going to save my life. Ah! A and S! Fuck! That's actually way harder than it looks! I have to say, I've never had a game of any kind which had QuickTime events based on WASD keys and based on, like, combinations. I wonder if this is the sort of thing that's intended as, like, a stick? Like, you press the stick, like, in a certain compass direction? Because this is weirdly tricky. Like, reading it, parsing it, and performing, like, combination button presses. I'm very fast at a keyboard, generally. Like, I got through Typing of the Dead Overkill on the hardest difficulty in one shot. You know, no deaths or restarts. But This is giving me trouble. Okay. Right. That's okay. Rinse, repeat here. And I'm gonna sort of speed. I don't think it matters that I'm gonna light the candle first, so I am just gonna trigger this. So if I die again, which I should hate to think I would, that you'll just get to see it. Okay, hammering E. And I did not actually have control of that little running bit. That was a cutscene. And it flies off. And I got the quick time event Agile, which, boy. Yeah, we're just going to pretend I did that the first time. And then there was another achievement, which, yeah, let's look that up. There are ghosts here. Really? And it tells us who that ghost is. It's Nanny Chen, who boiled medicine in the tea house and carried it to Madame before noon. So, there seems... I suspect that... Oh, that's interesting. So if we then take the premise that these dolls are representative of, like, the staff and denizens, what we have out there is someone who's beheaded, which would suggest... Oh, is it... Oh, fuck, you're still in there, huh? Let's see if... I mean, I think I'm lacking, like, the period knowledge to guess from costume if these correspond to specific people. But... Okay. Let's... And they're gone. Ah! Shit! Is this Nanny Chen again? And she seems to be gone. Okay. I want to say that this looks like kind of... I can't actually read this document here. Yeah, it's not an ostentatious clothing, is it? Is there any items around here that might suggest a profession? Well, it looks like there was some kind of... looks like... Maybe if we take this to be a tableau... This would mean that there were people sitting here drinking tea and then something happened. But whether or not I'm intended to interpret this literally is... I probably don't have the context, but if I had to, like, throw a dart, I would guess that this is either Mr. Liu or the painter. Who I believe, again, if I'm following the notes correctly, are separate individuals. Let's go back and grab that other thing and hope that it doesn't result in my death. Crazy, they're all crazy. Something definitely happened upstairs. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear to see the rough edges and contours of how this happened. But yeah, so the maid Ding Jiang. It seems pretty clear that someone was the mistress was leaping around. Perhaps the master of the house was infertile, and things seem to have come to a bit of a head. Now, what have I got right now? Bandages and a collection of the worst dolls in creation. Oh! Ah!
Molly?
What the... I did not do that on purpose.
Don't be afraid, Molly. I'll find the key as soon as I can.
So... Yep, we'll get you the bunny too. That's my number 4 priority at the moment. So I will say I'm heartened on the one hand. I'm optimistic, because it's very clear that whatever this haunting is happened long before we showed up, and I doubt very much that we have anything to do with it. Or if it is, it's going to be indirectly, like through a family relation or something. Which makes me hope that what we're looking at here is not, in fact, another bad dad story. Because I think those are very overexposed in this genre. But I have this kind of... This bitter pit in my stomach, which tells me no, it's going to go to the same well again. That said, I mean, so far we seem to be A+ fathering. Besides the implications of the opening cutscene, we're just plunging in to outright save our kid, which isn't actually something we see in a lot of bad dad stories per se. Okay, so I have a. I could change how it's highlighted by using the ASD keys, but I'm not actually sure. Oh. Okay. I appear to be able to... I can't place the dolls, but I appear to be able to play a game where, like, I can move them around. So we've got... this doll has no arms. That doll's missing one leg. I would suspect that the doll with no arms is probably lighter. So let's do that, and then a little bit of this. Okay. I wonder if... I wonder if the number of pins is relevant. Oh, wait. Are these my dolls? Oh, they are! They are my dolls. That was really unclear, to be honest. Like, I probably should have been paying more attention, but yeah. Okay, so in that case, I would suspect that I don't have enough dolls. And I would be... So, Nanny Shang following Ding Zhang into the wall. So, Nanny Ding Zhang is the maid. Was it? And that's diary entry 17. I'm kind of curious here. Let's see, a diary... My diary. Okay. I've been staring at my daughter's childhood clothes and toys. Why did they take away my daughter? My daughter's becoming extremely fond of drawing and has already used up 2 boxes of crayons, making terrifying sketches. But she seems to be very interested in traditional Chinese painting. I should send her to a professional class. Go to hell! Go to hell! Go to hell! These days there's a lot of noise in my ears. Men, women, kids, everyone just go to hell! God, I hate being a good father. It fucking sucks. I hate crowds. I hate work. What's the point of living? Why can't I just die? No, but my daughter still needs me. For her, I should continue to live. Yes, I do have a birthmark on my face. So what? Why do you keep staring at me? Cut it out. Quick, give me the medicine. I can't hear what you're saying. My ears are messed up. The voice of the kids, the voice of the women, the voice of men. Do you really want me to die? Well, okay. And we're taking a pain medication, and that's about a year before our fucking breakdown here. I don't see any clear line of continuity between how fucking crazy we've gotten by May of 2017 and us kind of just like driving our kid along like, lee-dee-dee, nothing's going on here. So I hate to think, I'm sad to say that, yeah, we are cruising with like a brick on the gas pedal straight into bad dad junction. Okay, so what I came here to check was... So, this is interesting. Things seem to have hit the fan around 14, and what I think they're saying is the last entry here, 17, is Annie Shen following Ding Zhang into the room. Was it? And that's where it ends. So unless like they're numbered by when I'm supposed to find them, which I really don't think is the case because 17, that means that they're... Just that little noise completely paralyzed me. Okay, so yes, this is in fact like a manor house, which, alright, we got the front hall here with like the record player, treasury. Ooh, let's go get some fat loot. The tea house appears to be where I was ambushed by the nanny. Save. Fellas, don't skimp. I know it seems like, you want to have a man cave, but put a save den in your room. You'll thank yourself later. And then I seem to have gone through here, which would mean we're in the... I want to say the guest room, if I'm following this correctly. If my mental map is tracking. Mr. Lou's Diary 9. I can try the curse recorded on the ancient books. What I need is a few wooden dolls and some silver needles. The 2 arms of the doll must weigh the same as 1 leg. I should be careful when making it. Okay. Fuck. I don't like that, because it means that there is an obvious intellectual solution to this puzzle, rather than just, like, slinging them around like an otter trying to stack cups. And that's what I was really hoping I could get away with here, because I didn't want everyone to see how stupid I am while recording a Let's Play. We'll probably just... I'll probably solve it perfectly in, like, a sublime burst of inspiration, but also just kind of cut that out for no reason, really. How many dolls we got? I want to say there's one more doll that we need to find here. Well, I mean, if all the dolls are loaded up, then the puzzle should be pretty easy. Because you just, make sure that there's, like, 2 arms should weigh as much as 1 leg. Yeah, so we just, Make sure that the one-legged doll's on one side and the no-arm doll's on the other. Oh, boy. I want to say that was just a spookum. That was not, like, a monster that I have to fight. I really, really want to say that. So here's a good question. I'm lighting these candles, right? Is that helping me out here? Is that doing anything for me? Like, is that making me safe? Also, did I light that candle before and forget about it? Or did I not? Let's come back out here. And... okay, it's still lit. It's good. Can I hide in here? Yeah, I can hide in here. Fuck. I'm calling it. We're gonna get about as far as the first monster I gotta hide from. Now, this game has a bit of a slow burn going on, and I'm curious to see whether there becomes, like, a gameplay loop of horror. Like, whether we reach a moment where, like, kind of, like Amnesia, where I'm kind of chronically hiding from the same monster. Or whether it's a little more, like... whether the horror beats are very much, like, pre-scripted out. That's one thing that I think we might not be able to explore this game quite long enough to find out. Unless you want to make a season out of this. I do have a couple games in the backlog, so at the very least, I'm going to set this game aside temporarily and come back to it. And if I don't find another doll in the immediate future, that'll probably be a good place to call it, but... aha! I found another legless and armless doll. Just startled myself looking at that thing. So, be excited to see if I can easily solve the puzzle now that my assumptions have gone off the rails regarding it. I believe that this is, in fact, like the one kind of doll which would make the puzzle solvable and yet tricky. Is a doll with no arms and legs. So let's... yep, there we go. Thank goodness. That could have been very embarrassing. Alright, now, I'm actually tempted to say I'll just try this key on all the locks. Unless I'm in a hurry, I don't think there's any reason I need to painstakingly look up which key goes to which lock here. It's clearly not this one, but let's do it just so I don't look stupid. Yep, not this key. And unbeknownst to me, a little invisible ticker just went off saying, you're fucked. You tried the wrong key on the wrong door, you idiot. We told you which keys go to which doors. What the fuck is wrong with you? Yep, not that one either. So, we're gonna go ahead and try this on the next locked door, which is back there in the other room. Yep. Yep, this is the bunny. So these doors explode open when you hit them. Oh, that's good. That's good effect. Flashlight is too bright, okay. Oh! What am I meant to do here? Okay. Details. Yeah, match. Okay. Let's see. I've got a match. Where is a candle or something? Yeah, there's a candle. Light it. Now that I've lit the candle, let's try the mirror. And see if I can spot anything. Clearly this mirror is intended for a puzzle solution, which I have not yet worked out. And if there's a reason I'm speaking a little more chipperly here, it's because... that looks like a bad idea. It's because I rather suspect that these hands are going to kill me eventually. I would love to be proven wrong, but then again, I'm not going to wait around for that to happen. Okay, so I've just opened these doors, and what I was really hoping was the case was that I would be able to see which doors I need to go through by looking through them, but that seems to have not been what happened. So what is going to happen here, because I'm very dumb, is that I'm just going to burst through one of these doors and hope for the best. Oh, ow. Ow. Let's try that again. Okay. So again, I'm going to open these doors, and the mirror is the only thing I have to interact with here, so I don't think I have much of a choice. Yep. And it reflects like the lamps which are falling over, but I already knew those were there. Is there anything else I can pick up? Anything else I can use? Here's Mr. Lou's ID card. Great! Hi everyone, I am Mr. Lou. Please let me through the security void. I don't think Hitman logic is going to apply here. And I also believe that... Should I guess wrong? Okay, so these doors are closing pretty fast. If I open it and sprint over... I'll just have to experiment again. Well, that didn't hurt me. I'm tempted to say because it didn't hurt me it was the right choice, but I have no way to verify that. I don't know precisely what that grinding noise is. I think that might just be like a scary sound. Just gonna... Yep. Just gonna get hurt. Alright, what am I missing? Knocked over... Nope. I appear to have dead. I appear to have dead. And how much progress have I lost here? Brass key 2. Okay, well, that was the paper dolls. It's very interesting, actually. I should quite like to stick with it. Was probably remiss in not saving earlier. I'm sure if I returned to that room, it would have saved the game for me. Although, to be fair, that's not a terribly well... Like, they don't really precisely explain how that works. Please feel free to let me know in the comments how fucking stupid I am for not being able to get out of that room with the ghost hands. And I'll see you next time.